Welcome, friends. You're listening to the Swears and Does Hair podcast for bridal hairstylists and makeup artists looking to take their business to new levels. Here we tackle topics such as mindset, finances, balancing business with motherhood, and healthy strategies to keep your body and mind supporting your business rather than holding it back. I'm your host, Sue Minsky, business coach for bridal artists and creator of the Next Level Bridal Business Program. Thanks for joining me. I can't wait to dig into today's topic, so let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Swears and Does Hair podcast. I am your host, Suzanne Minsky, and this week we are kind of continuing the conversation from last week about how to increase the know, like, and trust factor. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what makes you unique. So this week's topic is, why should a bride choose you versus choosing another artist who has a similar style? So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth today about your branding and your unique selling proposition. Now, if you're not familiar with what the term unique selling proposition means, it's what is it about you and your business that makes you unique and helps you stand out from your competition. It is not the style of hair or makeup that you do, whether you are a boho artist or a clean updo artist, or a natural makeup artist versus a more soft glam or full glam. That's not what makes you unique. Your price is also not what makes you unique. It's what is it about your business do you offer, and what is it about your business that you help other brides with that maybe your competitors don't do or don't do as well. So that's what is really the purpose of a unique selling proposition. It's that piece of the puzzle that helps to set you apart. The thing that you need to do to figure that out is kind of like a 4-step process. And this is what I really break down heavily in depth inside of either phase 1 inside of Next Level Bridal Business, or my mini course Unique as Fuck, which is basically phase 1 from Next Level Bridal Business. Like literally the videos are exactly the same. They're just in each individual course. But the steps are pretty much all the same. The very first thing that you need to do is you need to figure out, like, what are your goals for your business? What is it that you want out of your business? Because this is going to help you narrow down who your dream bride is. So you need to fill your business and your bookings with brides that support the vision of your business. All brides are not created equal. Just because they want to give you money and they like your work doesn't necessarily mean that they bring high quality and value to you as an artist building your business. Okay. So the first hurdle that you kind of need to get over is figuring out, okay, well, what are my needs as a business owner and as an artist? Who are the types of people that I want to work with who are going to support those needs? So once you figure out what your needs and what your goals are, then you move on to, okay, who are the brides that help to serve and support those goals? So say your goal is to have more time with your kids. Okay. You want to build a business that supports those goals, and you want to work with other brides who help you to have that benefit to your business. Just because people want to work with you doesn't mean that you're automatically going to suddenly have all of this free time. If you are constantly being asked to work on weekends, on days when you don't have weddings, and it's taking time away from your family, that is not the type of clientele that's helping to support the goal of your business. You need to be really strict and very clear with your boundaries on when you do work and when you don't work. And you need to make sure that the clients who are coming into your world and wanting to work with you support that. So if you are saying, okay, well, I can only do trials on weekdays during the day while my kids are at school, but you're marketing and you're getting in a lot of teachers. Okay. It's really nice and wonderful to work with teachers, But if they can't take the time off to come in when you're available, you're going to have this wall that you run into constantly. You're going to have this problem in your business where people that you're bringing in and that you're working, their lifestyle doesn't fit your business. Okay. They're not able to come in and work with you when you have the free time. So, those are the types of clientele that are probably not a good fit for your business. So, there's so much more to figuring out like your dream brides and everything than just saying, okay, I want, this age, this demographic who likes this style. What are the things that would impact your business goals and your lifestyle as an artist and as a business owner? What type of energy do you want coming back from your brides? Last week I talked a lot about brides are going to be attracted to your energy. All right, so what is your energy like? You want brides who want that same level of energy, but what do you want from them? Okay, you need to be really clear on your goals about that, on what you're receiving as well as what you're giving out. All right, so it needs to be an equal exchange of energy for there to be balance. Because if one side is just really, really giving and the other side is just really, really taking, it's not going to be a healthy and balanced relationship, and one person is going to feel very underserved. We don't want to feel underserved as business owners because we want to be able to love our business. We want to be able to love our clients. We want to be able to continue to have passion for our career and not burn out. And we want our clients to also feel very well supported and like they're getting more than what they paid for. All right. So it's really important to have that first step of what are your business goals? And then you move on to, okay, well, what type of clients support those types of goals? So, step one, figure out the goals for your business. Step two, figure out your dream bride profile. Who do you want to work with? It's more than just demographics and style. You really want to make sure that they're supporting these goals. All right. Then step three is what about your dream bride? Does she need? What does she need from you? Does she need a lot of high touch communication? We talked about that last week in last week's episode. Um, what are her fears? What is she afraid of happening? What is her worst case scenario in her mind? This is going to tell you how to create more content that speaks to what she's afraid of in a positive way. So like Marissa Grace, she's a great example where she talks about, overcoming past prom trauma. Okay, so that is a thing that she's probably heard a lot of her brides say over and over again, that they have prom trauma from going to the salon and getting their hair done and not loving it. So she's helping her clients overcome that fear. And she's putting out a very positive, upbeat message around, don't worry, girl, I got you. You're not going to run into that same situation again, helping you overcome your prom trauma. It's a very consistent message that you see in a lot of her marketing. And it's a perfect example of taking something that your bride is afraid of happening and helping to alleviate that fear. Again, it goes back to what we talked about last week with building up that trust, and they can trust that that is not going to be a repeat situation with you at the helm, with you as their hairstylist. They're not going to relive their prom trauma. Okay, so that's a good example, but make sure that you're also not copying what other people are saying in their messaging, because while your clients may have that same fear, it may not be their highest motivator. It may be something that, you hear every once in a while, but it's not something that you hear very often. So go into the questions that people are asking you, go through emails, go through past reviews where people talked about, oh, I was worried about this happening, but she really helped overcome that. I was worried she wouldn't be able to handle the large bridal party, but she did, or whatever. What are people talking about, and what are you hearing your dream clients say is their fear of something bad happening? And then you can create content around, here's how I can help you overcome that. Also, what are her wants? What does she want? What does she want from a hairstylist? What does she want from her makeup artist? Does she want somebody to hype them up? Does she want a calm presence? That goes back again to what we talked about last week with the whole concept of your vibe. All right. But does she want somebody who's going to be consistently checking in? Or does she want somebody who just sends her the information and she'll organize it herself? Like, does she want somebody who sends her, inspiration style guides? Or does she want to search for that information herself? And, does she want somebody who does certain parts of the steps for her? Or does she prefer to do those things herself? Does she have a wedding planner and she's really looking for somebody who works well and communicates well with wedding planners? All right, your dream bride may not work with wedding planners. That might not be her style of planning a wedding. So don't focus on working with wedding planners. If that's not what your dream bride is going to be doing, you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to focus on that. If you don't like working with wedding planners, and I hear this complaint constantly in Facebook groups, oh, the wedding planner does this, and when wedding planners do that, and blah, 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 blah. Shift your marketing message to speak to the brides who aren't working with wedding planners. Okay. I never really had very many brides who worked with wedding planners. Okay. It just wasn't my demographic that I worked with. A really close friend of mine, almost every single one of her brides is with a high end planner in DC. All right. Our marketing messages were very different. We talked to our audience differently. We spoke to them differently. We talked about different topics. We used different words. The way we expressed what we did behind the scenes with our brides and admin was very different because she talks a lot about working with the planners and creating the schedule and communicating with them directly and helping alleviate that stress of these two vendors not being able to communicate and work together very well. So a lot of her messaging was around that. And so she tends to pull in a lot of brides that work that way. Okay, so if you have a problem with wedding planners, then think about, okay, well, what are the needs of the dream brides that I actually want to work with? They want somebody who helps them do all that stuff so they don't have to invest in a wedding planner. All right, so think about those types of things. Again, it goes back to step one. What are your needs as a business owner, as an admin person? What do you need from your brides? Start speaking to that a little bit more and make sure that you incorporate those traits when you build out your dream bride profile. What are her needs? Does she need weekdays? Does she need evenings? Does she need weekends? These are all really important details for your dream bride. Now, don't just put together a dream bride profile based on who you're already working with. When we say dream bride, we're like unicorn bride, literal dream come true. What does she want? What does she need? What is she afraid of? When does she need you? What does she need from you? And do all of these things align with how you want to run your business? If they do not align, that is not a dream bride. Everything should be in alignment, and that's what makes it a dream bride. And then you start crafting your marketing message as if she was a real person sitting right across from you, having coffee, just like we talked about last week again. So, can you see how you are putting together all of these little details, how important it really is? And then when you have all this stuff in place, creating content becomes super easy because like I keep mentioning, create content surrounding this, create content surrounding that. What I'm talking about with those type of things is your captions, the topics that you talk about in your reels, the things that you say inside of your stories, the pieces of information and details that you add to your highlights, the way that you write your initial email to her, the things that you put in your welcoming guide, the things that you put in your pricing page, the facts that you write on your website, the words that you use to describe your services and your pricing page on your website or in your price list that you send out to them if you are one of those people who just refuses to put their prices on their website. I have tons of episodes and tons of information about why I disagree with all of that, but there are just some people and they're still super successful who don't do it. So I can't say that just because I disagree with it, that, it doesn't work at all. But there's a lot of reasons why I don't support that. But what information does your bride need from you? What are they asking for? These are all these places that you need to put that information. That is creating content. It's not just reels and posts on Instagram. Okay. All of these things together make up what I call your digital footprint. It is all of the content and all the pieces of information. It's like a little breadcrumb trail throughout the internet that brides follow to on their buying journey, on their decision making process. Every little crumb, they put it together, and now they trust you, and they're ready to move forward with the booking process because they understand that you are the perfect person for them. Okay, so now that you have your dream bride profile put out, we get to step 4, and this is where you start to put all these pieces together with who you are as a business owner and who you are as an artist to develop your USP, your unique selling proposition. What is going to help you stand out from other artists? All right. Now, remember, I've said time and time again, it has nothing to do with your artistic style. It doesn't have anything to do with the niche of your artistic style. That is a very, very small fragment of what makes you unique or what sets you apart, but it's the you part of the business. Okay. It is your personality. It's how you communicate, your energy, and your vibe. All right. All of those things help to set you apart. But now that you know what your dream bride needs from you, what she wants from you, and what she fears happening, you can take a deeper look at yourself as an artist and as a business owner and say, well, how am I uniquely qualified to help satisfy those needs for her? How am I uniquely qualified in order to alleviate those fears? What do I do differently than somebody else to help give them what they want? All right. And now everybody's business is going to be run a little bit differently. And that's the amazing part. That's the special part. And that's what literally makes you unique, is that you choose to run your business differently than everybody else. No matter all the students that I have coached over the last few years, whether inside my course or one-on-ones or, like through my coaching packages where we work together over a 3-month period or a 6-month period, and I help them like revamp all of their stuff. Everybody who runs their business runs it a little bit differently. Okay. So there's no one size fits all, there's no one perfect path. And really understanding, well, who is your dream client and how do you satisfy that? That's what helps people move forward, because they're not just saying, oh, look how nice and clean the ridges on my hairstyle are, or look how beautiful and bright the under eyes are, and how contoured and snatched her face is. Like, it's not about their artistic style. That's going to be one of the first things that draw people in visually. They're going to make a snap judgment about whether or not they like your artistic style. And then if they do, they're going to want to move deeper, and they're going to want to find out more about your business, and they're going to want to find out more about you. And that's when you come in with the, here's how I satisfy your needs. And everybody does that different. Everybody is special. And so I really like to work with my students. Well, how do you do it different? How do you do it special? And it's not about how much do you give away? How much do you go above and beyond what everybody else does? It's not about how much more you do. It's about how you do it uniquely. What is the special sauce? Okay? I could train you to do hairstyles exactly like me. I could teach you how I ran my business, but I don't fear you copying me because you're never going to be me. I'm going to have my own special sauce that nobody else can replicate. Okay. I can give you the recipe, but it's always going to be just a little bit different because you're always going to add your own special touch to it. Okay. So that's why I don't believe in like competition. I don't think that that really exists. The only person you're competing with is the person that you were yesterday. All right. There's no true competition. There's only community. All right. There's inspiration, and there are other options for brides to choose from. All right. So if you want brides to be choosing you, you really need to understand and you really need to embrace what makes you special, what makes you unique, and really understanding what they need from you so that you can talk about it. Because if you know, okay, well, they like somebody who's super organized and I'm super organized, great. Are you talking about that? And are you talking about that enough? Putting something into a caption or creating a reel around that topic once doesn't mean that your job is done. I hate to break it to you, but if you're not repeating the shit out of everything that you say in your content and in your marketing, you're not saying it enough. Your message is not getting out to everybody. All right. There are people out there who need to hear what you have to say. And if you're not repeating yourself, they're not getting the message. All right. So there should never come a day where you're sitting there and you're staring at your phone and you have no idea what to post about. You have no idea what to talk about. You have no idea what to say in your captions, what to do a reel about, whatever. You should have a limitless number of ideas because you need to repeat yourself. All right. So people need to see the same message a minimum of 7 times before they start to retain it. All right. That's why you hear me repeat a lot of things in my messaging, whether it's my captions, my content stuff I post on Instagram, or even right here in my podcast. You hear me refer. I've done it a bunch of times. Last week I said this. I'm reinforcing the message because one, somebody may not have listened to last week's podcast episode. So now I'm sparking their interest and I'm saying, okay, I talked about this and I'm going to expand on it deeper right now so they get a little bit of that. All right. But then it's also going to inspire them, hopefully, to go back and listen to that other podcast episode and be like, oh, okay, I really like that. And I'm remembering it now because I've seen it twice. Really, ideally, people need to hear the same message 7 times. But if I don't ever repeat myself and every single episode is completely, utterly new information, whew, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work for me. And at the same time, not everybody's going to sit there and listen to all of the episodes. I'm on episode 61 right now that I am recording. And so unless people have listened to, or I'm on episode 62 actually. Unless they've listened to the other 61 episodes, all right, they don't know all the things that I've had to say. So I need to repeat myself to get the message across. And there are times when even still, like I will repeat myself over and over and over again. And I'll see some of my coaching students or people that I know have listened to certain episodes or taken mini courses or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that message still hasn't gotten across to them that, this something's not clicking still. And that inspires future conversations and that inspires future podcast episodes, revamping of mini courses, things like that. When I revamp modules inside of Next Level Bridal Business, like we're on the 3.0 version. I just did a whole huge revamp this spring. And sometimes when I'm watching my students and I'm like, that's not quite getting across, I haven't repeated myself enough. It hasn't clicked deeply enough. And so that I know, all right, if this consistently is an issue that I'm running into, I'm not being clear enough in my communication or I'm not repeating myself enough. So repeating myself does twofold for me. One, it helps to reinforce my message. And two, it takes a lot of work off my plate having to constantly come up with completely new ideas. It's one of the reasons why I really love being a business coach versus like an updo coach or something, because when you're doing all of these videos, there's a lot of pressure to create something new, create something different that people haven't seen before, create something different that you haven't done a video on, a bunch of times or whatever. But still, even if you are, just because somebody watched a video once doesn't mean that they picked it up. Okay. People have to watch things over and over again, and not everybody will learn the same way from watching that. So if you say, okay, do it like this and you demonstrate it, not everybody's going to pick that up and understand that. So if you can recreate, that same look or whatever, and maybe talk about how to do it just a little bit differently, maybe use a different analogy, or change the camera angle so they can see something a little bit better. It's the same message, but it's presented in a slightly different way, and a way that might make better sense to some people's brains, because everybody learns a little bit differently. So even, updo educators, they still have to repeat a lot of the same things, but at least with business, there's like certain basic business principles where it's like, okay, I'm just going to keep repeating it. I'm going to use different analogies. I'm going to talk about it different ways. I'm going to use different success stories from students, and hopefully this is what really gets in. Your audience, your brides are the same way. We're all human. Our brains all operate on a fairly similar level. Okay. There are basic core principles of just repetition over and over and over again. Speak your message multiple times over and over. Let people know. So when you're trying to create content, really look, what are my bride's needs? What are her fears? What are her wants? And then in my business, what do I want to change? What do I want different? I need to speak to somebody who treats me differently than the current brides are treating me if I'm having problems with my current brides. Okay, so hopefully this kind of helped you put together a lot more about a little bit of content creation, and how to put together your marketing message, how to really understand the psyche of your brides and what they're looking for, and how to dive a little bit deeper into how you are unique and different. So, if you want more information on this topic, my mini course, Unique as Fuck, is coming back. It's going to be open again to the public coming up very soon. You can read the show description notes for details on that. Also, follow me on Instagram at Beauty Biz Collective, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that. You can also go to my website. You can sign up for my email newsletter list. You'll be notified when pre-sale opens for that. All the details regarded to Unique as Fuck, where there's several really in-depth modules where we talk about all these things. I literally walk you through so many of them, and then there's like worksheets and all that kind of stuff. And then also there's going to be some updated modules where I go a little bit deeper, and I give a little bit more writing prompts to help you kind of put these things into words. So again, the mini course is called Unique as Fuck. Okay, it helps you to determine what about you is unique and special, so you can put it into your marketing and help you stand out from your quote unquote, competition, from the people in your area. So you can stop trying to run your business based on price, based on how often or how intense your social media presence and posting schedule is. Like it doesn't have to be you're so fucking visible, and you're cheaper or whatever, or your art is better, because art is subjective. Okay, there's always going to be people who look at your styles and they fucking love them, and then there's other people who are going to be like, that's trash, I don't like it. Okay, like there's Monet and there's Picasso and there's Banksy. Okay, like three totally different styles of art, and there are people who love one more than the other or hate them or whatever, so you can't go based on price, you can't go based on your artistic style, and you absolutely cannot run a business successfully and sustainably based on just like flooding the shit out of social media with your content. Unsustainable. Being super visible is really helpful, it's really beneficial, but it's not what's going to set you apart. Your brides don't give a shit how many followers you have, they don't care how many likes you get. Like, that's not what draws brides in. It's the you factor, and you need to figure it out. So thank you so much for listening this week. It was a little bit of a shorter episode, but I will be back next week with a new podcast. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, next week there'll be a new YouTube video as well. So I will see you then. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you feel empowered, knowledgeable, and capable of handling anything that your business throws your way. Don't forget to subscribe to get access to new episodes as they are released here on YouTube, or tune in on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the latest conversations. Love today's episode? Let me know. Leave me a comment and tell me what your biggest takeaway was from the conversation. Have a request for a future topic or someone you'd like to hear me interview? Find me on Instagram at Beauty Biz Collective and drop me a DM. And if you're hungry for more actionable content to help you grow your bridal business, click the link in the description below this video to sign up for my free on-demand training to learn how to book better quality brides faster, easier, and with less stress. See you next time.